Hello everyone. Today I will be presenting AP Psychology Unit 1, the nervous system and neural communication. The nervous system is the body's main communication network. It allows us to sense our environment, process information, and respond to stimuli. Everything we think, feel, or do depends on signals traveling through this system. In this presentation, I will explain the major divisions of the nervous system, the structure of neurons, and how neurons communicate through electrical and chemical signals. First, let's look at the two main divisions of the nervous system. The central nervous system, or CNS, consists of the brain and spinal cord. The CNS is responsible for processing information and controlling most functions of the body. The peripheral nervous system, or PNS, includes all the nerves outside the brain and spinal cord. These nerves connect the CNS to the rest of the body and allow information to travel back and forth. The PNS has two important subdivisions, the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system, which we will discuss next. The somatic nervous system controls voluntary movement of skeletal muscles. It also includes reflexes when they involve skeletal muscle movement. A reflex is a quick, automatic response to a stimulus. Two types of neurons are involved in this process. First are sensory neurons, also called afferent neurons. These neurons carry information from the body to the brain. For example, when you touch a hot stove, receptors in your skin send signals through sensory neurons to the brain. Second are motor neurons, also called efferent neurons. These neurons carry signals from the brain to the muscles, causing action. For example, the brain sends a signal through motor neurons telling your hand to pull away from the hot stove. The autonomic nervous system controls involuntary body functions, such as heart rate, digestion, and gland activity. It has two major divisions. The sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for fight or flight situations. During this response, heart rate increases, digestion slows down, and blood is redirected to the muscles so the body can respond quickly to danger. The parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for rest and digest functions. It slows the heart rate, increases digestion, and helps the body conserve energy. These two systems work together to maintain balance and stability in the body. Next, let's look at the structure of a neuron, which is the basic unit of the nervous system. Neurons are specialized cells that transmit information. The dendrites receive signals from other neurons. The soma, or cell body, contains the nucleus and keeps the neuron functioning. The axon is a long tube-like structure that carries electrical signals away from the cell body. Many axons are covered by a myelin sheath, which is a fatty layer that speeds up neural transmission. Between the segments of myelin are small gaps called nodes of Ranvier, which help the signal travel faster. At the end of the axon are terminal buttons, which release chemical messengers called neurotransmitters into the synapse, the small gap between neurons. Finally, glial cells are support cells that protect and nourish neurons. Neural communication involves electrochemical signals. Inside a neuron, communication occurs through an electrical signal called an action potential, also known as a nerve impulse. First is the resting potential, where the neuron is not firing and the inside of the cell has a charge of about -70 millivolts. Next is depolarization. When a stimulus reaches the threshold, sodium ions rush into the neuron, making the inside more positive. When this reaches about -55 millivolts, the neuron fires an action potential. Then comes repolarization, where potassium ions leave the cell to restore the negative charge. After that is hyperpolarization, when the neuron becomes slightly more negative than normal. Finally, the neuron returns to the resting potential, and the sodium-potassium pump resets the ion balance so the neuron is ready to fire again. After the electrical signal travels down the axon, communication continues chemically. At the terminal buttons, neurotransmitters are released into the synapse, which is the small gap between neurons. These neurotransmitters act as chemical messengers. They travel across the synapse and bind to receptors on the dendrites of the next neuron. If enough neurotransmitters bind to the receptors, the next neuron may reach the threshold and fire its own action potential. In simple terms, an action potential is the electrical signal inside the neuron, while neurotransmitters are the chemical signals between neurons. That's all for my presentation on the nervous system and neural communication in AP Psychology Unit 1. Thank you for listening.